Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Asnan Hashim. I'm graduated from Rawalpindi Medical College, and after this I did fellowship with Professor Tariq in 2008, and after that I left country and I did my fellowship in European board and then stroke medicine from Austria. And for the last 7 years I was working as a consultant neurologist and stroke specialist in Rashid Hospital, Dubai. The talk that was headache treatment, it's a very long topic. Now it's considered as subspecialty. People are doing 2-year fellowship in headache management, so it's very difficult to mention all latest advances and a treatment option in one talk. I've tried my best to include most of the thing. In this presentation, we will discuss the brief classification of ICHD. That is the latest one, though it is very extensive classification, and more than 1,000 types of headaches are there existing. And so I have just briefed this classification into just main 2 types, and then we will discuss red flags for the headaches that are very important for those people who are related to the management of the headache in emergency department. And then what are the diagnostic criteria of main types of the primary headaches, and then management option, and finally we'll discuss about the recent advances in headache management. This is most valid classification, International Headache Society classification. It has classified headache into 2 main types: primary type of headache and secondary type of headache. There are only 3 primary type of headache that don't have any underlying etiology: migraine, which has itself has many sub-classification types, tension type headache, and third is trigeminal autonomic cephalgia. There are many other small or non-significant primary type of headache. Will not discuss it here. And then there are a very huge list of secondary type of headache that may be due to underlying trauma, underlying any structural pathology, any vascular malformation, any infectious or non-infectious pathology. These are very important. These are especially for those people, especially resident, medical student, and the people in ER physician. Thunderclap headache, that is very important. If the patient came with the first ever very severe headache, and that he didn't have any this type of headache before, along with especially nausea and vomiting, so and patient does not have any history of migraine or any other cephalgia before, so you have to be very alert, and immediately this patient should go imaging study to rule out any subarachnoid hemorrhage or any other formation. Any new type of headache, irrespective of age, a patient is young or old, if he is presenting for the first time new type of headache, that is very important to consider. Don't ignore this headache, and you have to investigate. You have to take history in detail for this type of headache. Headache with neurologic signs. If patient came with a headache with focal numbness on the face, on the arm, if patient has any speech difficulty, or patient has any visual loss, or any cranial nerve involvement, that is very important and a serious situation, and you have to do urgent imaging study, and you cannot ignore. And if this kind of patient presenting in emergency, don't send these patient home without doing any proper imaging and consultation with the neurologist or neurosurgeon. Then headache in pregnancy. As we know that this is a hypercoagulable state. Most of the patients, especially in our part of the world, because these pregnant patients, when they are coming from the faraway area, from the villages, they are dehydrated and they are hypercoagulable state, so their chances of having CVT, any other, and ischemic stroke as well. So if the patient has first time headache in pregnancy, so you have to investigate properly in this case. Headache in elderly, especially if the patient are more than 70 years of age, and they have dementia, they have a lot of other things, and the cognition is not correct, so maybe they will forget any prior small injury. So for these patient imaging is very important to rule out any acute or chronic subdural hematoma. Progressive headache, that is another entity. It's very important. If the patient has headache for the last 6 months or 1 year, and that is progressively increasing, and it is associated with any other focal neurological sign, that is also alarming, and we should rule out any underlying, any infectious, non-infectious or neoplastic pathology. and change in frequency of quality of headache. Another entity that if the patient has migraine before even or tension type of headache before, but this time patient is coming very severe headache and the nature of headache is totally different from the previous headache, that is also alarming sign. Now the migraine, that is very common and especially it's common in young population. It's most frequent in female and around 20 to 30% of the female, especially the young working female, they are affected from this type of headache, and there are many other subtype of migraine. We will not discuss all these in detail. There are different pathologies, pathogenesis, still not yet is established. Previously the old theory was as vascular theory, that there is vasoconstriction followed by the vasodilatation. Okay, certain few points that are going in the favor of vascular theory, that we know that there are two type of migraine, that aura and without aura. And aura of these symptoms, these are focal symptoms, numbness, any weakness or any speech deficit before starting headache. And it is thought that during this aura period there is vasoconstriction, blood supply to the certain area of the brain, it reduces, so patient develop these focal neurological signs before starting headache, followed by the vasodilatation and when patient start headache. There are certain medications whose mechanism of action is vasoconstriction and they are very effective, so that this theory is somehow still existing. Another theory is that is current concept is that is a mixture of and vascular and neurologic origin. It originates as a neurologic event in the brainstem. It's a trigeminal nerve ganglion is stimulated and there is also a vasodilative event, and there is a role of serotonin release in the pathogenesis of headache. You can see that this is aura phase, and during this aura phase it is thought that there is vasoconstriction of the vessel, so that's why patient develop these focal symptoms, either numbness, speech deficit or any other focal weakness. Most of the time if the patient present with aura, and if aura is very prolonged, these patients are confused that this patient is having maybe some sort of stroke. And during next phase when headache starts, the same vessel they start to vasodilate and patient started having headache. This is another picture that can explain that during aura phase, due to vasoconstriction, the blood supply to the area of the brain, specific area of the brain, is reduces during aura phase due to vasoconstriction, and when headache starts, vessel tend to vasodilate and then headache patient has headache starting. So patient history, it's very important. I think history, we know that it's very important, and most of the 80% of diagnosis we can make and depending upon the history. But headache is that category that history is very more important as compared to other entities. Even 90% of the diagnosis we can make just depends upon the history and without any other investigation. We don't need any imaging, we don't need any other electrophysiological study to prove that this is, especially for the primary type of headache, that is migraine, tension type of headache. There are specific criteria we'll mention in the next few slides. Patient diary is very important. If you have patient who is having tension type of headache, migraine or cluster type of headache, you have to ask the patient that he should make the diary. It's very important because you have to manage patient whether this patient need prophylaxis or need only just only rescue medication. It depends upon the diary of the patient. Take separate history of each type of the headache. And in children it's very difficult because they will give us a mixed type of history, so it's still very difficult to differentiate between migraine and this tension type of headache. This is diagnostic criteria. Most of the people know the diagnostic criteria. Migraine without aura. At least patient should have 5 attacks of unilateral pain, and these attack duration should be more than 4 to 72 hours. Unilateral, moderate to severe in intensity, pulsating type of headache, and there is one very important thing, it should be aggravated by the routine physical activity. There is no other type of headache like tension type of headache or primary neurologic trigeminal cephalgia that are aggravated by the routine physical activity like sleep, like diet, like stress. Only this migraine and its variant, they are aggravated with the routine activity, and patient should have either nausea and vomiting, photophobia, phonophobia. It's one out of them, it's not all together. This is migraine with aura. The main criteria is the same, but the aura symptom, as I already discussed, that it should be in the form of visual obscuration, flashing of light, zigzag line, either in the form of the numbness or paresthesia, tingling sensation on the face, on the arm. Sometimes there is visual loss, heminopia, or sometimes increased scotoma. These are different form of aura. So that's why due to these aura, these patients are confused with the stroke. Tension type of headache. This is more diffuse type of headache. This is more common in our part of society, but it's underdiagnosed, and sometimes it is confused with the migraine or other type of headache. Tension type of headache is moderate, mild to moderate in intensity. It will not be more severe. Patient will be working, there will be no much disturbance in the daily routine life, and it will expand up to weeks. It can extend from the days to week, mild to moderate, and there will be no nausea and vomiting, and there will be stress or depression. You have to look for the element of depression, stress, or other stressful lifestyle. Trigeminal or autonomic cephalgia. This is less common as compared to previous two types. There are many subtypes of these kind of headache, like cluster headache, paroxysmal hemicrania, hemicrania continua, sunk, that is very short lasting headache, a stabbing like pain, and there is another called Suna. This is relatively uncommon as compared to the other type of headache, and this is associated with this autonomic symptom. These autonomic symptoms you cannot see in the patient with the migraine. Patient will be having unilateral pain, periorbital or supraorbital region along with the ptosis, conjunctival injection, lacrimation, nasal congestion, or rhinorrhea. This is very important to make diagnosis of trigeminal autonomic cephalgia. Headache, the principle of management. First of all, you have to take very clear history and establish the diagnosis, whether it is migraine or it's some of its variant, where it is like a tension type of headache or any type of trigeminal autonomic cephalgia. Because unless you make a clear-cut diagnosis, like a treatment guideline, management approaches are different for these type of headache. So key is first you have to establish the diagnosis. Treat early. No need to wait. If the patient has a mild type of migraine, you have to take early measure. You have to ask the patient to change lifestyle and treat with very simple medication. Use adequate doses. The usually common practice is that if patient is not responding to 1 or 2 tablets of Panadol, we add Brufen, then other Voltaren, then maybe other strong analgesic. This practice is very wrong. You have to just use adequate dose. Even maybe this patient is simply improve with the increased doses of paracetamol. So you have to use adequate doses, and there is another type of medication overuse headache that is usually occur due to misuse of this medication. Tailor treatment to the severity of attack. There is no clear-cut, regimen for all types. There is no unique regimen. So you have to start treatment on an individual basis, depending upon the severity of the attack or the frequency of the attack. Use migraine-specific therapy, like triptan medication, like ergotamine and all these things if patient has migraine. Preventive strategy, you have to decide about these preventive strategy depending upon the severity and frequency of headache. Okay, this treatment guideline are updated in 2017. If you can see this acute treatment, if the patient has mild to moderate attack are those attacks that does not affect the daily routine life of the patient. Patient is having attack that is lasting less than 24 hours, mild to moderating in intensity, patient doing this work, but still the headache is there. For this one, you have to start with very simple medication, either paracetamol or simple analgesic medication. But you should not use any combination. Try with one simple medication. If the patient has severe attack, not responding to these medication, then you have to go for the migraine-specific medication that is called triptan. There is a long series of triptan from short acting to long acting, like zolmitriptan, sumatriptan, and naratriptan. So these are, you have to be very specific because there are very specific contraindication, and in presence of these contraindication, you're not supposed to start these medication. Refractory migraine strategy. If the patient is not given to either individual medication of these medication, then you have to go the combination of triptan and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent. You can use dihydroergotamine, but these days these ergot components, they are not being used. People are discouraging using these medication unless patient has very refractory and not responding to other medication. You can use combination of analgesic along with the steroid as well. Strategy for the patient who have contraindication to vasoconstrictor medication. Triptan are specifically vasoconstrictor medication. If the patient has angina, patient has chest pain, patient has TIA or ischemic stroke before, so these are absolute contraindicated due to this vasoconstriction. So patient might have a stroke or any other aggravation of this chest pain. So these are contraindication for those patients. For these kind of patient, don't use this one, but you can use different combination of NSAID, dopamine agonist and combination analgesic you can use, but without opioid. In the next slide I will explain that why opioid are not encouraged and are not indicated in any kind of this migraine. Preventive strategies, there are different level of evidence that will prove that this medication are how much effective. Level A indication, these have established efficacy in prevention of migraine. Antiepileptic medications, especially the valproic acid, Dipakine or Epivol, is very effective. Though people are not giving in this is the most effective and level A indication for this use. Beta blocker, propranolol and metoprolol and timolol, they are also at the first line. But other beta blocker, they are level B medication like probably effective. Okay, so its role is not well established. Like antidepressant, we can say that the amitriptyline and beta blocker, they are probably effective. Possibly effective are ACE inhibitor, ARBs, and then finally antiepileptic like carbamazepine. If you don't have these choices, then you can start, but still effect is plus minus. Level U indication, that these its conflicting evidence are usually they are not indicated. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitor, acetazolamide, antidepressant, SRI and SNRI, and gabapentin. These are usually better to avoid these medication for the prophylaxis of migraine. And these medication, they have been tried as injective medication, but these medications still have not established their efficacy in prevention of migraine. Narcotics, no more effective. There is no use. People are using these narcotics. We have seen many prescriptions that people are using very frequently, Tramadol and other these things, but there is no role of most type of these headache and there is no specific underlying pathophysiology. We know that pathophysiology either is vasoconstrictor or as neuropathic. So narcotic doesn't fit anywhere. So that's why we discourage using this narcotic. Sedating medication, because it's sedating medication, their chances of potential abuses, there is positive reinforcement. A patient will start this narcotics, patient will with passage of time will increase the use of these narcotics. So the rule of management, we should keep this one thing in mind, that these kind of vascular headache like migraine or any other neuralgia, you cannot treat 100%. All medication with the best evidence, they are 70% effective. So you cannot say that I have migraine and fully treated. Migraine will be there, but it depends upon your activity and your other strategy and all these things, it can come back. So you can prevent up to 70%. You can reduce frequency and severity of attack of migraine, but cannot 100% stop this one. And response is, you cannot predict the response. So never say to any migraine patient that I will start this medication and this will be effective. Maybe same medication is effective for half of the patient and that is not effective for other patient. Many patients are coming with a side effect. Dose adjustment, as I already told you, that it's very important to adjust the dose. Don't just rely on a small dose and add another dose. Because due to this strategy, patient will be misusing all these medication. Chronic migraine, if the patient is having this migraine, so you have to not only rely on a pharmacologic therapy, you have to, there are many other non-pharmacologic therapy, like education of these patients is very important. You have to ask the patient, that patient should sleep at least 6 to 8 hours in a 24-hour. Diet is very important. Migraine patients should not miss their breakfast. It's very important. Sudden change of temperature from air conditioned room to go to the hot. Any cold stimulant, that is very, and in addition to the chocolate, some people are saying, though evidence is not clear, that chocolate and high sweet, they can also aggravate this one. Lifestyle modification and behavior therapy is very important, especially the people who are working and overburdened and who are usually working in front of any screen, laptop, computer. They should give breaks in between and they should not continuously use these screens, and they should not be overburdened mentally or physically. And then pharmacologic therapy, as already mentioned. There are new techniques that are being used. Pain management, Professor Salim, they know better all these techniques. This one, greater occipital nerve blocks. Usually with this technique, the local anesthetic or steroid are usually giving. It is 50% effective, and in one study that is the 20%, there is no benefit we have seen in the patient. Patient can have local discomfort and alopecia. These are the few side effects. Botox in migraine, very effective. We are using in our center very frequently, weekly 2 to 3 patients for. It's very easy to administer. If the patient has contraindication to medication, patient has a refractory and using many medication, this is one of the techniques that we can use in a migraine patient who have very severe migraine, and the migraine is affecting his daily life. That is very effective. And there are specific places, and if you can see that there are few muscles we have to specify. Minimum dose is 155 unit to 192 unit. You can corrugator, procerus, frontalis, you can temporalis muscle 4 places, and then occipitalis, and then trapezius muscle. 5 unit at each places, and you have to repeat after 3 months. This is very effective. Patient usually comes, they usually remain pain free for 2 to 3 months. So it's one of the good modality that we can, I think, recommend to the patient who are having this refractory migraine. These are different stimulator, nerve stimulator that are being used. This is vagal nerve stimulator. It is handheld, and you don't need any much supervision. And this is also with mixed kind of evidence whether it is effective or not. Transcranial magnetic stimulator. This is used under hospital supervision. Patient sometimes has to come as an outpatient, and for few hours, and we can give sphenopalatine ganglion stimulator and occipital nerve stimulators. Cephally device. This is very common in Arab countries, and in Europe it's recently this device is many things that transcutaneous nerve electrical stimulation. Usually it is battery operated, and there are 2 small batteries, and usually during the work time you can apply on the forehead, and for 20 minutes you have to turn it on, and this will give you just stimulation for 20 minutes, and that is also effective for some patients. Side effects are drowsiness, and some people have vertigo, but it's still effective, and you should recommend to those patients who have contraindication to medication, especially the patient who are pregnant, who cannot take more prophylaxis, or who cannot take more non-steroidal or other triptan medication during pregnancy. So usually this is one of the good modality. Its cost is around 3,000 dirham in UAE, but I don't know whether this is available or not. But this is very common, and I think it will come soon in our part of the treatment option for cluster headache. Cluster headache is not very common as compared to the migraine tension type of headache, and acute management is same, triptan with the different doses and strategy we can give. This is bridging therapy. During bridging therapy we can give steroid with different combination along with the dihydroergotamine, and triptan we can give, which are long active. Preventive strategy for this one, verapamil is very effective. As we know that verapamil is not effective for the migraine treatment. For the cluster, verapamil is a class 1 medication along with the other medication. You can start lithium carbonate, sodium valproate, Topamax, and endomethacin as well. What are nutraceutical and other modality treatment for the headache, especially the vascular headache and migraine? What is their evidence? Because people are saying whether we can use it or not. For these one, the evidence is not much clear. So usually we are not encouraging this medication. Potential new therapeutic treatment, surgical procedure that are targeted, that are using like parasympathetic, we can use this surgical procedure like that target parasympathetic pathway, trigeminal nerve, or other outside the trigeminal ganglia as well. Neuromodulation. It's a kind of deep brain stimulation to the hypothalamus, peripheral nerve, and sphenopalatine ganglion. Still used in very high or in European country or in America, but it's not very common. People are doing. You need very expert people who know how to use this one, who have very good experience in using deep brain stimulation. It's effective, but it has a lot of side effect, like ICH and stroke, or patient may die from this one. So that's why it needs good expertise and good center where you can do that. This is short-lasting unilateral neurologic function headache. That headache is a very short stabbing-like pain. Many people are having this one for few seconds, stabbing-like pain on one side of the headache. And for the treatment option for this one is lamotrigine, topamax, gabapentin, and you can give in a serious cases a course of IV lidocaine. Tension type headache, first you have to start NSAID in the form of this one simple analgesia, aspirin, NSAID and paracetamol. Preventive medication, the first line medication is amitriptyline, and but there is no use of SSRI and botulinum toxin in case of tension type of headache. This is last slide. Medication approaches for that medication overuse headache. This is very common because many physicians, GPs are usually make habit of the patient just to give 4 or 5, and many patients we are seeing that they are coming with prescription, that patient taking this steroid along with this one analgesic and paracetamol continuously for 2 to 3 months. So these become habitual of using this one. So it's very difficult. So these patients are having medication overuse headache in addition to the primary headache. So if they are using either paracetamol or any brufen or any aspirin, so you have to gradually taper off and add triptan and along with the other long-acting NSAID. If patient is using opioid overusing, you have to gradually taper off and use triptan as an PRN medication along with the long-acting NSAID. This was all about update about current. There are many other things are there, difficult to but if you have any question, now you can ask, or after the meeting you can ask this question. Thank you very much.